First in the spotlight tonight is Sam Nemzer, a medical physicist from London. He's answering questions on the television series Breaking Bad. Next, Gerard Watson, a civil servant from Bristol, on the Spanish Civil War. Adam Richardson's a project manager from Fleet. His specialist subject, the Clash. And Liz Gore, a researcher from London, her subject, the Peter Wimsey novels. Hello and welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphrys. This is the quiz show where they don't come on to win big prizes, they do it for the glory, the honour of becoming the nation's mastermind. 2 rounds of questions, of course, 2 minutes on their specialist subject, and then the really tough one, 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. So let's get on with it and ask our first contender to join us, please. And your name is?
Sam Nemzer.
Your occupation?
Medical physicist.
And your chosen subject?
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad in 2 minutes, starting now. The American television series Breaking Bad is about a high school chemistry teacher, Walter White, who, after he's diagnosed with cancer, starts producing and selling methamphetamine to secure his family's financial future. In the pilot episode, he's thrown a surprise birthday party. How old is he?
50.
Yep. When he learns of his father's illness, Walter Jr. sets up a website to raise funds for the rising medical costs. What's it called?
SaveWalterWhite.com.
Yes, when he stays at his parents' house in Series 1, Jesse Pinkman finds an old chemistry test paper marked by Walter White. In addition to an F grade, what 3 words had Walter written in red on the test paper?
Apply yourself better?
No, ridiculous apply yourself. By what nickname is the drug dealer and DEA informant Domingo Gallardo Molina better known?
Crazy 8.
Yes. In the episode Sunset, after Walter White and his new laboratory assistant, Gail Bettker, have worked their first day together, Gail recites When I Heard the Learned Astronomer, a poem by which American poet?
Walt Whitman?
Yes. From which country did the drug baron and proprietor of the Los Pollos Hermanos chain of restaurants, Gustavo Fring, move to the United States from in 1989, having lived there since 1986?
Mexico.
Yep. In Hazard Play, Walter, Jesse and Mike decide to use a pest control business as a front for their new mobile meth lab. What's it called?
Vamonos Pest.
Yes. In Salud, what is the name of the rare liquor that Gustavo Fring laces with poison to kill the cartel boss Don Eladio and his associates?
Mezcal.
Zafiro Anjo. A former Philadelphia policeman turned private investigator works for Gustavo Fring as his head of security and general fixer. What's his full name?
Mike Ehrmantraut.
Yes. What material does Walter White use to cause an explosion at the office of Tuco Salamanca? He meets with Salamanca using the name of his alter ego Heisenberg.
Fulminated mercury.
Yes. In Problem Dog, what's the name of the video game that Jesse is playing when he gets flashbacks of his murder of Gail Bettker?
Dead Space.
Rage. In Buyout, Walter tells Jesse that he had sold his share in a company he'd co-founded in grad school for $5,000. What's the name of the company?
Grey Matter.
Grey Matter is correct. No passes, Sam. You have 9 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Gerard Watson.
Your occupation?
Civil servant.
And your chosen subject?
Spanish Civil War.
The Spanish Civil War. 2 minutes. Here we go. The Spanish Civil War was fought from 1936 to 39 between the Republicans and the Nationalists, a rebel group led by General Franco. As well as Generalissimo, Franco was generally known by what title meaning leader?
Caudillo.
Yes. Which general was the figurehead of the 1936 nationalist coup? The plotters intended to make him head of state, but he was killed in an air crash on his way back to Spain from Portugal.
San Giorgio.
Yes. In early 36, the Popular Front government tried to neutralise generals by reassigning them to obscure commands, although this failed to prevent the July coup that began the Civil War. To where had Franco been posted?
The Canary Islands.
Yes. What was the name of the political group formed by José Antonio Primo de Rivera in 1933 that was to play an important part in the Civil War?
The Phalange.
Yes. On the 1st of October 36, the Nationalists appointed Franco as the head of government. In which city did the ceremony take place?
Salamanca.
No, Burgos. George Orwell enlisted to fight for a Marxist party known by what four-letter acronym? They were attacked by Soviet-backed forces, even though both were fighting the nationalists.
P-O-U-M.
Yes, or POUM. What name was given to the German legion that fought for the nationalists during the Civil War?
Condor Legion.
Yes. Which city on the Portuguese border was captured by nationalist forces led by Colonel Yagué on the 14th of August 1936?
Badajoz.
Yes, the communist leader and orator Dolores Ibarru, who is said to have coined the Republican battle cry "No pasaran," was better known by her pseudonym, which was
La Pasionaria.
Yes, when the Soviet Union sent a mission to Spain in '36, who was in charge of the local branch of the secret police, the NKVD?
Orlov.
Yes, Picasso painted Guernica in response to the bombing of the small Basque town of the same name. In which city was it first exhibited in 1937?
Pass.
Who was the rector of the University of Salamanca who denounced the nationalists publicly at the celebrations marking the anniversary of Columbus discovering America?
Miguel de Unamuno.
Yes, the decisive battle of the war is known by the name of the river that Republican forces crossed in July 1938, although by November their remaining troops had been forced to withdraw back across. Which river was it?
The River Ebro.
It was indeed. You had just one pass, Gerard. Picasso's Guernica was exhibited first in Paris in 1937. You have scored 11 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Adam Richardson,
Your occupation?
project manager,
And your chosen subject?
The Clash.
The Clash, in 2 minutes. Which song was released as The Clash's first UK single? It was inspired by disturbances at the 1976 Notting Hill Carnival and demonstrated the band's rebellious spirit.
White Riot.
Yes, who is generally credited with establishing the band's name after he noticed how often the word Clash cropped up in newspapers and realised it suited the band's ethos?
Paul Simonon.
Yes, The Clash's debut gig was in July 1976 at the Black Swan pub where they supported the Sex Pistols. In which city?
Sheffield.
Yeah. Which song gave The Clash their only UK #1 single in '91 after it was used in a jeans advert?
Should I Stay or Should I Go?
Yes, what is the title of the EP issued in May '79 that includes the songs Groovy Times and Gates of the West?
The Cost of Living EP.
Yes, on which London thoroughfare is the Labour Exchange where Joe Strummer recalled first seeing Mick Jones and Paul Simonon queuing for the dole?
Lisson Grove.
Yep. Which song from the Combat Rock album peaked at number 30 in the UK singles chart in 1982?
Rock the Casbah.
Yep. The London Calling album was produced by Guy Stevens and recorded in 1979 in studios in Highbury. What was the name of the studios?
Wessex.
Yes. Which single was released by the band's label CBS without their approval? The action made the band question the amount of artistic freedom that their label would allow them.
Remote Control.
Correct. At what music festival in Holland did the drummer Topper Hedon play his last gig with The Clash before he was sacked in 1982?
The Oz Festival.
No, the Lockham Festival. Which 1977 song, released as the B-side of the Complete Control single, has the lines, "What we wear is dangerous gear. It'll get you picked on anywhere"?
City of the Dead.
Yep. What was the name of the 1980 film directed by Jack Hazan and David Mingay that featured The Clash?
Rude Boy.
Yeah. What is the name of the legendary American R&B musician who supported The Clash on their first tour of North America in 1979?
Bo
Joe Strummer said he couldn't look at him without his mouth falling open.
Bo Diddley.
Yes, what is the title of the triple album released by The Clash in December 1980? They insisted the price be kept down to £5.99.
Sandinista.
Yep, and we're out of time. So you have no passes and you've scored, Adam, 13 points. And our final contender, please. And your name is?
Liz Gore,
Your occupation?
researcher,
And your chosen subject?
the Lord Peter Wimsey novels of Dorothy L Sayers.
Peter Wimsey novels. Here we go, 2 minutes. The amateur detective Lord Peter Wimsey often works with a Metropolitan Police officer who later becomes Wimsey's brother-in-law. What's his name?
Charles Parker,
Yes, what rank did Wimsey reach while he was serving in the Rifle Brigades during the First World War?
Major,
Yep. Wimsey first meets his future wife, Harriet Vane, when she's standing trial accused of the murder of her former lover. What was his name?
Philip Boys,
Yep. In Cloud of Witness, which book does Wimsey recommend that Parker should read to give him an idea of what happened to the murder victim Dennis Cathcart?
Man down on Lisco.
Yes, in Strong Poison, which of the ingredients in the dessert prepared at the table by Philip Boyes has previously been contaminated with arsenic by Norman Urquhart?
The egg.
Yeah. In Whose Body, what is the name of the book written by the murderer Sir Julian Freak that Bunter obtains for Wimsey from the Times Book Club?
Physiological bases of the conscience.
Yes. What item does the travelling barber tell Wimsey he has sold to Alexis to help imply that he had committed suicide in Have His Carcass?
A cutthroat razor.
Yep. In Gaudy Night, Harriet Vane chooses to research the life and works of a writer as a cover for her lengthy stay at Shrewsbury College. Which writer?
Sheridan Le Fanu.
Yes. When the Wimseys are on their honeymoon, William Noakes, the previous occupant of the house, is found dead in the cellar with head injuries. What had caused them?
He was hit on the head by a cactus.
Yes, swinging cactus plant. Which journalist on the Morning Star is described in Murder Must Advertise as of no importance to anybody except himself and his widowed mother?
Hector Puncheon.
Yep. In which London thoroughfare is the Bellona Club, where General Fentimans discovered murdered on Armistice Day?
Piccadilly.
Yep. In Unnatural Death, what is the name of the nurse who replaced Nurse Philliter and cared for Miss Agatha Dawson through the late stages of her illness?
Nurse Forbes.
Yes. What is the name of the detective who features in Harriet Vane's novels?
Charles Templeton.
Robert Templeton. In The Nine Tailors, Wimsey stands in for a bell ringer who has influenza and takes part in a peal of Kent treble Bob Majors to ring in the new year. What's the name of the bell ringer he's replaced?
Will Thoday.
Yes. In Clouds of Witness, what legal post is held by Sir Wigmore Rinching, who leads the Crown's case in the House of Lords trial of Gerald, Duke of Denver, for the murder of Dennis Cathcart?
The Attorney General.
Correct. No passes. Liz, you've scored 14 points. Well, the scores kept creeping up in that round. Let's have a look at all of them. In fourth place with 9 points, Sam Nemzer. Third place with 11 points, Gerard Watson. Second place, 13 points, Adam Richardson. First place, 14 points, Liz Gore. So the general knowledge round now, and if there is a tie at the end of it, then the number of passes is taken into account, and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they tie on passes as well, there will be a tie break. And the 6 highest scoring runners-up in these heats will also be able to claim a place in the semi-finals. So, plenty to play for. Let's get on with it and ask Sam to join us again, please. And you start out with 9 points with your knowledge of Breaking Bad. You've got 2.5 minutes for your general knowledge. So here we go. Which sport was famously played by George Herman Ruth Jr., better known as Babe Ruth?
Baseball.
Yep. The fantasy roles of a Sheffield-born actor include Boromir in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and Eddard Stark in the Game of Thrones. What's his name?
Sean Bean.
Yeah, a woody climbing plant of the pea family that produces hanging clusters of fragrant flowers is named after an American anatomist who died in 1818. What's it called?
Bodleian.
Wisteria. Which chemical element with the symbol Zr has a crystalline oxide that is widely used substitute for diamonds in jewellery?
Zirconium.
Yes. Who described his fellow Scots who agreed the Act of Union with England as sic a parcel of rogues in a nation in a poem of 1791?
Robert the Bruce.
No, Robert Burns. Which European capital city stands on the islands of Zealand and Amaga?
Copenhagen.
Yep. A 1954 film musical starring Howard Keel and Jane Powell was based on Stephen Vincent Benet's story The Sobbing Woman. What is the film called?
South Pacific.
7 Brides for Seven Brothers. In March 2014, who became only the 4th manager after Sir Matt Busby, Sir Alex Ferguson and Dario Gradi to complete 1,000 games in charge of the same English Football League club?
Arsene Wenger.
Yep. What was Pete Conrad about to step onto when he said, "Whoopee, man, that might have been a small step for Neil, but it's a long one for me"?
The Moon.
Yep. Which American state's official name concludes with the words "and Providence Plantation"?
Rhode Island.
Yes. The Shahada, or profession of faith, must be recited to become a member of which religion?
Islam.
Yes. What animal is depicted in Sir Edwin Landseer's painting The Monarch of the Glen?
Horse.
Deer. Which singer who sang lead vocals on the Naughty Boy single La 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 was given the Critics' Choice Award at the 2014 Brits?
Pass.
Which treaty, signed on the 30th of March 1856, ended the Crimean War?
Sevastopol.
Paris. What rhyming phrase is used to describe the loss of highly trained and qualified people to other countries for better pay, equipment or conditions?
Brain drain.
Yep. Which fictional school has the motto Draco dormiens nunquam titilandus, meaning never tickle a sleeping dragon?
Hogwarts.
Yep. A celebrity hairstylist whose clients included Mary Quant and Mia Farrow is best known for the Nancy Kwan bob and other geometric cuts that he introduced in the 60s. What was his name?
Fidel Sassoon.
Yes, the Austrian-born conductor Herbert von Karajan was the musical director of an orchestra from 55 until 1989. Which one?
New York Philharmonic.
No, the Berlin, Phil. In 2014, a market town in North Yorkshire with a castle dating back to Norman times was said to be the best place to live in Britain in a list compiled by the Sunday Times. Which town was it?
Hebden Bridge.
Well, you're not far off. It was Skipton. Yeah. One pass. The singer who sang the lead vocals on the Naughty Boy single La 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 was Sam Smith. You've now got, Sam, 20 points. And now Gerard again, please. And you start out with 11 points, and 20 is the score to beat at this stage in the game. Here we go, 2.5 minutes of general knowledge. The Britannic and Olympic were the sister ships of which ill-fated ship?
Titanic.
Yep, in which Jerry Anderson television series was Lady Penelope Creighton Ward driven around in her pink Rolls-Royce by her Cockney butler Parker?
Thunderbirds.
Yep, a cordwainer was a worker in Cordovan leather who mostly made what items?
Corduroy.
Shoes. Who was the goddess of flowering plants in Roman religion?
Pass.
A 1996 worldwide dance craze single was recorded by the Spanish flamenco guitar duo Antonio Romero Monge and Rafael Ruiz Pericoñas, known as Los del Rio. What is it called?
Pass.
The model of the universe that was accepted until the 17th century, in which the sun and planets orbit the Earth, was named after an Alexandrian astronomer of the 2nd century AD. Who was he?
Ptolemy.
Yep. Chao Wei-yo, an engineer who worked on the Chinese canal system in the 10th century AD, is traditionally credited with the development of what?
The Lock.
Yeah. Which American state capital was founded in 1840 on a site called Chemiqueta, meaning place of rest in the language of its indigenous people?
Pass.
Whose book, Ring of Bright Water, tells of how he brought an otter called Mijbil home from Iraq and raised it in West Scotland?
Richard Adams.
Gavin Maxwell. Which future Prime Minister married the widow of the MP Wyndham Lewis in 1839?
Gladstone.
Disraeli. Which celebrated American aviator disappeared in the Central Pacific with her navigator Frederick Noonan during an attempt to fly around the world in July 1937?
Amy. No, pass.
What Russian word meaning comrade was used as a form of address for a member of the Communist Party in the old Soviet Union?
Pass.
A Liverpool-born painter who died in 1806 was internationally renowned for his highly accurate paintings of animals, particularly horses. What was his name?
George Stubbs.
Yes. Who won the Best Supporting Actress Oscar in 2013 for her role as Fantine in Les Miserables?
Pass.
Which district of Limerick has given its name to a high kick or up and under in the game of rugby union?
Pass.
Which author created Father Brown, a Roman Catholic parish priest who's also a brilliant amateur detective?
Chesterton.
Yes. What name, probably of Middle Dutch origin, is given to fish, usually cod, that's been cured by air drying on wooden racks without salt and is primarily produced in Norway?
Sealed.
No, stockfish. No. 7 passes, Gerard. Gary Owen is that district of Limerick that gave its name to the high kick in rugby. Anne Hathaway played Fantine. Tovarish is comrade, or was in the old Soviet Union. Amelia Earhart, that's what you were looking for.
Yes.
Salem is the American state capital, founded in 1840. Macarena is the worldwide, or rather was, the dance craze in 1996. And Flora was the goddess of flowering plants. You've got a total now of 17 points. And now Adam again, please. And you start out with 13 points, and the score to beat is still 20. Let's see where you go. 2.5 minutes. What is the name of the Oscar-winning animation studio based in Bristol, particularly famed for producing the plasticine duo Wallace and Gromit?
Aardman.
Yes. Which competition did the greyhound Primley Sceptre become the first winner of in 1928?
Pass.
The American novelist Earl Dare Biggers was the creator of a famous fictional detective on the Honolulu police force. What was the detective's name?
Pass.
England and Italy played an under-21 game in March 2007, which was the first official match at a newly rebuilt stadium. Which stadium?
Hazel.
No, Wembley. In 1938, the taxidermist Percy Stanwich created a life-sized model of an enormous aquatic mammal for display in London's Natural History Museum. What is the mammal?
Walrus.
The blue whale. Which Caribbean republic was a French slave colony known as Saint-Domingue from 1697 till after the Revolution of 1791?
Devil's Island.
Haiti. What name is given to the approximately 3 billion base pairs of DNA that makes up the set of chromosomes of a human being?
Pass.
Which jazz orchestra leader and pianist's works include scores for the films Anatomy of a Murder and Paris Blues?
Pass.
Which notorious gangster was played by Robert De Niro in Brian De Palma's 87 film version of The Untouchables?
Al Capone.
Yes, what name is given to a painting or carving composed of 2 panels, normally small in size and joined by a hinge? A famous example from Wilton House was painted as a portable altarpiece for King Richard II.
Diptych.
Yes, which Robert Browning poem opens with the line, "Oh, to be in England now that April's there"?
England.
Home Thoughts from Abroad. Songbird, Imagine and American Tune were posthumous UK #1 albums for a singer who died aged 33 in 1996. What was her name?
Pass.
The 2000 novel The Stars Tennis Balls takes its title from a line in John Webster's play The Duchess of Malfi. Who wrote the novel?
Stephen Fry.
Yes. What name is given to the body that chooses the American president and vice president? The name has also been used in Britain by the Labour Party since 1981.
The Upper House.
The Electoral College. The record price for a work by a particular American artist was broken in November 2013 when his painting, Silver Car Crash, Double Disaster, showing the aftermath of an accident, was sold for $105 million in New York. Who was the artist?
Rothko.
No, Andy Warhol. Which actor who starred as Carl Denham in the 2005 remake of King Kong provides the voice of Po in the Kung Fu Panda films?
Adrian Brody.
It was Jack Black. As it happens, you had 5 passes. Eva Cassidy sang Songbird, Imagine, American Tune, etc., etc. Duke Ellington was the band leader, composer, pianist who wrote scores for the films Anatomy of a Murder and Paris Blues. The human genome has 3 billion base pairs of DNA and counting. Charlie Chan was the fictional detective. And Primley Scepter was the first winner of Crufts back in 1928. Adam, you too have 17 points. And finally, Liz again, please. And you start this round with 14 points, and 20 is still the score to beat. Nobody seems to be able to get beyond that, so let's see if you can do it. You've got 2.5 minutes in which to try. Here we go. How many soldiers were nominally under the command of a Roman centurion?
100.
Yes. In which city are Partick Thistle and Queen's Park 2 lesser-known football league clubs?
Glasgow.
Yep. Which Irish-born comedian and presenter first attracted attention when he was a panellist in Radio 4's Loose Ends? His television breakthrough came when he stood in for Jack Doherty as a late-night chat show host on Channel 5.
Graham Norton.
Yes. In biology, what parts of a living organism does the prefix cyto refer to?
Cell.
Yeah. In which mountain range is the Italian peak Marmolada the highest point?
Apennines.
The Dolomites. What term is normally used for nipping off or pruning the tip of a very young plant or seedling, usually to encourage branching and bushing out?
Budding.
Pinching out. A philosopher who was one of the founders of the campaign for nuclear disarmament in 1958 was imprisoned for his part in a sit-down protest in Whitehall in 1961 when he was nearly 90. What was his name?
Bertrand Russell.
Yes. Leeds Castle, which was bought by Eleanor of Castile in 1278, went on to house many royal ladies, including Anne of Bohemia and Joan of Navarre. In which county is the castle?
Kent.
Yep. Who topped the UK album charts for the 7th time as a solo artist with Symphonica in March 2014, his first new album for nearly a decade?
Robbie Williams.
George Michael. Which cardinal was effectively the chief minister to Louis XIII of France from 1624 until his death in 1642?
Richelieu.
Yes. A breed of chicken that has a squarish body and 5 toes is named after a Surrey town. Which one?
Pass.
Which 1931 painting by Salvador Dali depicts limp, melting watches in an eerie landscape?
Persistence of memory.
Yes. Who captained Britain's winning Admiral's Cup yacht team in 1971 while he was Prime Minister? He captained them again in 79.
Edward Heath.
Yes. Lee J. Cobb, Carl Malden and Rod Steiger were all nominated for Best Supporting Actor Oscars for their performances in which 1954 film?
12 Angry Men.
On the Waterfront. In which famous hotel is the gin-based cocktail, the Singapore Sling, said to have been invented in the early 1900s?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
In which famous hotel is the gin-based cocktail, the Singapore Sling, said to have been invented in the early 1900s?
Raffles Hotel.
Yes. What sporting event started at 8 p.m. local time on the 8th of August 2008? Because in the country where it was staged, 8 is considered a lucky number.
Tour de France.
No, Beijing Olympic Games. A 2nd century BC Jewish leader who defended his country against an invasion by the king Antiochus IV is commemorated in an oratorio by Handel. What was the leader's name?
Judas Maccabeus.
Judas Maccabeus is correct. You had just one pass. That odd-looking, odd-sounding chicken is named after Dorking. So there's a Dorking chicken. Just that one pass, Liz, but you did more than enough. You have 25 points. Well, a very clear winner there. Let's have a look at all the scores. In joint third place, 17 points apiece, Gerard Watson and Adam Richardson. Second place, 20 points, Sam Nemzer. In first place with 25 points, Liz Gore. Which means that Liz is tonight's winner and goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to her. And if you would like to be a contender in the next series, do go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us on Twitter @mastermindquiz. And do join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.